Welcome everybody to a brand new video. So I woke up this morning, right? And I go on my phone and I'm looking on social media and I notice that Eminem drops a full fucking album out of nowhere. Just a surprise album. Another one. And this just caught me so off guard because I've been thinking to myself for the past few days, actually the past few weeks, what if Eminem were to drop a surprise album again out of nowhere? What would I do? How would I react? And I woke up this morning, that is exactly what happened because he dropped the album called Music to Be Murdered By. Now, I do want to mention really quickly that I'm not going to give my thoughts on the album just yet because one, I don't feel like I've listened to the album that much. I've listened to it about twice through, but I've still yet to make my thoughts and what songs I like, what songs I don't like, etc. But I am going to be making a top to bottom of it. Once I have a grasp of the album and how I feel about it, I am going to make a top to bottom. However, one thing I will say about the album is that the first time listening to it, I wasn't the biggest fan of the album per se. But yeah, I guess you guys are just gonna have to tune into my top to bottom episode when I give you guys my full thoughts and whether or not that opinion has changed or whatever. But I'm going to go into this unbiased, or as unbiased as I can possibly be. I'm not going to overhype the record in my eyes. In my personal opinion, I'm not going to overhype it. I've seen some people, actually, I've seen a YouTuber call it an instant classic, and while, okay, you can have your opinion, I wouldn't go that far. I would not go that far. But anyway, on to the topic of top to bottom. I am going to try and be as open as possible. If I think it sucks, I'm going to be honest and say that it sucks. But if I think it's good, great, amazing, I'm going to be honest as well and say that too. So, you guys should see that in the next few days. It's probably going to be my next upload because I am listening to the album a lot. I mean, when I first woke up and I saw that the album was out, 5 minutes after I woke up, I was listening to the album. I listened to it in the shower. I listened to it on the way to work. I listened to it in work. I played it in work on the speakers when we were closing. And just because I want to saturate myself with this album as much as possible because it is a bit of a different listen. I'm not going to say that this is like revolutionary for Eminem and that he's like, you know, changing the game, man. He's like creating a new wave because that's not what's happening. But it is different for Eminem. This album isn't the same as the stuff he's put out. Actually, I wouldn't really say that this album sounds like any album that he's put out. The closest comparison I can make is like maybe Relapse, but like that doesn't exactly sound very good because Relapse in my opinion isn't like the most fantastic album. I think it's okay. I'd probably give it like a 6 to like maybe a 7, but like probably a 6 if I were to like rate the album off the top of my head. Relapse was I think it's good. I don't think it's like amazing or anything like that. A lot of people say Relapse is underrated, and I kind of agree, but only in the sense that people say Relapse is trash. I wouldn't exactly say it's trash. I just think it's I think it's okay. I think it's good. More leaning towards okay. I think it's an alright album. But anyway, let's not talk about Relapse because that's not what you guys clicked on the video for. Music to Be Murdered By. I was caught so off guard about this, and I just can't believe that Eminem did this again. I can't believe that Eminem dropped another surprise album. That is really shocking to me because I didn't think he was going to do that. I thought that if he was going to release another album, it was going to have marketing behind it and stuff like that, but it is genuinely shocking to see that Eminem just put it out there, and like there was no teasing towards this whatsoever, nothing like that. There were just rumors going around that Eminem's working on something, and clearly he was fucking working on something because ever since Kamikaze he must have been working on this album. And as I said earlier in this video, this is a bit of a different direction, especially with the features. There's different features on this album like Black Thought, Q-Tip. There is an Ed Sheeran feature, and I'm gonna talk about that in my top to bottom video. There's a Young M.A. feature on the album. I mean, there are a lot of different features on this album. Anderson .Paak as well, which is pretty cool. Skylar Grey as well. I'm going to talk about all of this in my top to bottom episode where I'm going to get like super in depth on the album because even at this point where I've listened to the album twice, I still find it hard to kind of like wrap my head around it and like really come up with my thoughts. I'm not trying to let social media sort of influence my view of the album too much, because if I go on social media, I am just seeing very mixed opinions. There are a small number of people who are saying that this is like fantastic, this is such an amazing Eminem album and stuff like that. And there are a pretty good portion of people who are also saying that this is good. This is a good album. And then there are, you know, that portion of people that I try to not look at so much, because you know how the fucking, like, wormhole of Twitter and YouTube is. There's just, like, people like, Eminem is trash, Eminem is garbage, this shit is worse than Revival. Like, people are actually saying that this is worse than Revival, and, as far as I can get into what I think about the album before, you know, going into my top to bottom series, I definitely don't think it's worse than Revival, okay? Like, people who are saying it's worse than Revival, one, you either didn't listen to this album or you didn't listen to Revival, because there is no fucking way that this is worse than Revival, okay? Like, no. But as I said, there was a portion of Twitter and just social media in general who are really shitting on the album, like, hardcore fucking shitting on the album, saying like, Eminem is trash and he's irrelevant, blah 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 blah. Yeah, he's irrelevant, but you're clearly fucking talking about him, so I don't know. Also, I see a portion of people saying like, oh, we shouldn't be paying attention to this, we should be focusing on the Mac Miller album, we should be streaming the Mac Miller album, blah, 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 blah. Why don't you just fucking stream both? Like, just stream both and just like, shut the fuck up. Like, okay, I know Eminem fans are bad. I know that we're bad and, like, you know, we're toxic and all this shit. Like, I get that. You know, I've seen it myself. Yes, Eminem fans are pretty bad. But God, how much fucking better are you by shitting on other people for liking music? Like, I remember somebody said that, you know, they like the album. They actually think it's pretty decent. They weren't even like a stan or anything. They weren't even like, oh my God, I'm jerking off to Eminem. They weren't even like that. They just said that they thought the album was decent. And someone replied saying, I'm glad that you like it, but you must have a stronger stomach. Like, dude, how good do you feel shitting on people? Like, seriously, how good do you feel sitting at your keyboard just like doing this, just shitting on people? You know, how good does it feel? I bet you it feels really fucking good, doesn't it? The main point I'm trying to make is that if you enjoy something, like, people won't leave you alone. They have to shit on you and make sure that you feel bad for liking something. Like, what I'm gonna say is that if you don't like the album, if you don't like Eminem, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I am personally accepting of people who don't like Eminem. I'm not accepting of people who just shit on everybody for liking Eminem, though, because that's just, like, really fucking stupid in my opinion. This goes the other way around, though, as well. If you like the album, that's fine, that's cool, you can like the album, but don't get pissed off at other people for not liking the album. At the end of the day, it's all opinions. By the way, I just really quickly want to mention the fact that we were talking about Mac Miller earlier. I am also going to be reviewing Circles, I believe that's his new album, because I do like Mac Miller. I have listened to a good portion of Mac Miller's music, and I'm looking forward to diving into his new album. However, my priorities right now are with this new Eminem album, but after that, I assume the Circles review will be in the works for me. I am going to be reviewing that album because it is something that I am looking forward to, and we'll just have to see how that goes. I haven't listened to it at all because, as I said, my priorities are with this new Eminem album, but trust me, I will get around to it, and I will upload that in the next week, I'm sure. Some things that I'm looking forward to in relation to this Eminem album. Number one, I'm looking forward to the Anthony Fantana review. And of course, I'm not just going to blindly follow whatever he says, because I'm not like that. You know, Kamikaze, he didn't like Kamikaze, but I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty solid release. However, we can both agree that Revival is pretty trash. But I am looking forward to hearing what he has to say about this album, because this isn't like Revival. This isn't like Kamikaze. This is a little bit different, as I said earlier. So I'm curious to see what he's going to say. However, I don't know. I just have this feeling that he's not going to like it, and that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. No, but in all seriousness and in all honesty, I don't really see Anthony liking this album. I'm honestly expecting him to give it like a 3 or something, which, as I said, is fine, but, you know, whatever. You know, he's probably not gonna like it, and that's just how it is. But I'm also looking forward to Sean C's review of it. That's gonna be interesting, and I'm also looking forward to Dead End Hip Hop's review of it. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that they're going to like this album, especially Mike Seatown. I feel like Mike Seatown would really dig this album because, as I said, the most it reminds me of is like Relapse, and I know for a fact that Mike Seatown does like Relapse. He said that he's part of like the 5% of the population who actually like Relapse, which is funny. I don't know, I feel like this album would really work with him. Maybe not all the songs, but I feel like a good majority of it and the main theme of it would really resonate with him. But I guess we're just gonna have to see, and we're gonna see how I feel about it. Out of the people I named who are gonna be reviewing the album, of course, I'm gonna be the most irrelevant out of all of them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to everybody's review of the album, even if I might not agree with what they have to say. I'm just looking forward to it. I want to see what the general consensus is. I want to hear, conversation surrounding the album. I'm excited. I'm glad that this album dropped, and I'm gonna keep listening to it until I grasp my thoughts on how I feel about it. But yeah, I'm probably gonna wrap this video up here and go do that. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you smack the like button. If you want to stay up to date with my content, please be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so that you're notified of when my review of this album goes up. I'll have my last video in the corner. If you haven't checked that out already, definitely make sure to check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.